it was a wake up. And I think for anything in life, you have to wake up to something inside of you that requires more. And there's something inside of me that required more said, girl, listen, you forgot to travel and you about to turn 65. So if you don't travel now, then when are you going to travel? It's never going to work. If you're waiting for all the planets to align and everything to be perfect, it's never going to work and you're never going to do it. Hey y'all, it's Suzette, and I just wanted to jump up here right quick and talk to you very briefly, or at least to start the conversation, because I know a lot of you are really wanting to travel. You've been wanting to, you've been watching other people do it, wondering how they're able to do it. And for a lot of us, one of the main reasons that we haven't is because of money. Somehow or another, we feel like it's very expensive to travel. And the truth is, it is expensive to travel if you don't have a strategy, if you don't have a workable plan that you know you can be committed to. And in a couple of episodes back, I talk about how the reason why my husband and I woke up in our 60s and realized we had forgotten to travel was because we let other obligations take priority over our traveling. We kept talking ourselves out of it. And if you really peel that banana all the way back, more times than not, it had to do with money. We were like, okay, no, we can't put this money on travel because we need to put this money over here. And I was just looking at two of my favorite people on YouTube, Lynette and Stanley. And they were talking about how they were able to jumpstart their travel and to be able to travel for 2 years without going into debt, without breaking the bank, and doing what their heart and soul has desired to do. And even though the way they started, which is great, you know, they talk about how they made it a priority, created a travel account, became committed to putting money in that, as well as getting out of all the debt load and the financial obligations and the family obligations and all those things, you know, so that they could definitely not break the bank from traveling. I love that. And for some of you, that might be the best way for you to go. Now, for me, my story is a little different. And I'm going to try to do this in bite-sized pieces so that you can digest what I'm saying. First, it was a wake up. And I think for anything in life, you have to wake up to something inside of you that requires more. And there's something inside of me that required more said, girl, listen, you forgot to travel and you about to turn 65. So if you don't travel now, then when are you going to travel? It's never going to work. If you're waiting for all the planets to align and everything to be perfect, it's never going to work and you're never going to do it. So what can you do that aligns with what is being called forth out of your being that you know you'll be committed to and that you'll respect? So I had to create a strategy, a plan, not just considering myself, but also considering my husband, so that we could make travel a priority, not just talk about it, but be about it. So that's what it started with. It started with a wake up from the inside out, not from the outside in. Because you look at other people traveling, you go, oh, that is so cool. I wish I could do that. And then you go back to sleep. You wake up again when you see somebody else's beautiful pictures and all the things they were able to do. And you say, oh my God, you know what? I really would like to do that. And then life moves you right back to sleep. So what is it that you can do that will keep you awake to the very thing that your soul desires and requires? It can be travel. It could be something else. But for all intents and purposes of this video, I want to keep it on travel. So the first thing was the awakening. The second thing was a little different from Lynette and Stanley. My husband and I had a personal savings, and then we had a savings from our joint account. What we did when we got our income tax refund is we decided we were not going to use it to pay off a dad blasted thing. Typically, we would end up getting a refund, and before we could even think, that money already got put into something else. Something else would require that money, right? And we decided, basically, come hell or high water, ain't nothing touching this income tax refund. So that was our joint savings account. Then I had a personal savings account. Even though I was I put in quotes, retired from relationship coaching, I had a client, someone come to me and say, I want you to coach me about my relationships. That's what they said they wanted. And so what did I do? I considered it, and I said, you know what? The truth of the matter is, I am open to coaching, consulting, advising anyone that my spirit feels like, hey, this one, you really do need to coach. And so I did. I coached someone, and the money from that coaching, I put it in a savings account. Every red cent of it. I did not touch it for clothes, for shoes, to pay off anything. I said, this is sacred. I'm not going to touch this money. I'm going to leave it in a savings until the universe makes me aware, hey, this is why your money has been sitting here. I'm not going to try to decide what it is. I'm just going to let it sit right there until it's not an obligation, but it's a link or alignment with my soul's joy. Whatever that looked like. I didn't judge it. I just said, this is going to sit here until I decide what's going to happen with this money, not something else requiring it, if that makes sense. So there were two savings that had not been touched. So when I woke up, shared it with my husband, realized he was feeling the same, we both were like, listen, in 2025, we're going to start traveling. Well, actually, it happened before 2025, but we just knew moving forward, we were going to make travel a priority. So, okay, great. So what to do that? Well, of course, like I said, we had that money. But knowing us the way I knew us, we would not want to spend all of our savings on a trip and then have nothing left in the savings. The good thing about having a savings is you feel like you've got something there. You've got a solid foundation financially to stand on. Money that you don't require, but you know it's there. Not just whether it's there, whether you need it, you just know it's there. And I found out, God, it feels good to know that what's in my checking account isn't the end all be all. I got this nice banging savings. It just made me feel more secure. And I like that feeling. So one of the first things we decided is we were not going to exhaust either savings. We were not going to exhaust it. But we were going to figure out a way that maybe some money from the savings would help us get this plane off the runway. Right? At least make the wheels get off the runway. So we used our savings to kind of launch us, but we didn't deplete our savings. But I knew that unless we had another plan, it would be probably a slow go, but we would eventually exhaust our savings. Then what would we have? We wouldn't have anything but a desire to travel, but no seed money, nothing to invest. And you know what? No matter what it is you're doing, you need seed money. You need seed. For anything that you want to see grow in your life, you need seed. And for this, we needed money, but then we found other seeds we could use. Other seeds. I started, of course, I'm on social media. And when you have an interest in something, you start kind of Googling it, looking for videos in YouTube that kind of talk about it. You look for groups, you put keywords in and different groups and pages, populate your social feed. And you start saying, let me explore all these resources out here that can help me put some verbs, as Dr. Phil says, or put something to make me progress, move forward, to put some movement, to help me figure out how to plant this seed, where to plant it, in what to plant it. I'm sorry, y'all. My nose started itching. But even though you have to have seed, you have to find good ground. And so I started testing all these different grounds and started listening to different ones talk about how they're able to travel. And I said, And one of the first things that came up was points and rewards. Miles, points, and rewards. And I started kind of looking at that, reading different comments, different posts about it. As I said in another previous episode, I got the ebook. Some were free, some cost money. But I started doing my field work, my research, where I started just reading all these different ways that people were able to afford to travel without breaking the bank. Some people able to travel with little to no money at all, but yet they set themselves up so they could continue to create momentum to continue to be able to do it. And that's what I wanted. Like, how they talk about the boulder effect, like when a snowball rolls down a hill, it's gaining more and more snow. And after a while, that thing is bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. That's what I wanted. I didn't want my seed money to be the end all be all. I wanted to create some momentum so that everything would just keep right on emboldening and reinforcing and invigorating what we already did. We wanted to set a plan in motion that was going to continue to gain ground and steam. And so by looking at points and miles and rewards, I said, ooh, this might work. So in the next video, I'm going to continue this story and tell you what I learned about points and miles and rewards that created something that I said, okay, it doesn't have to just be money. There is a way, a strategy, a vehicle that I can use that can make my money go further, make my investment go further toward my ultimate goal and the goal of my husband, which is to travel. That we are going to travel. I'm also going to talk about how, in me talking about this, I'm going to also share how we booked 3 trips for the price of 1 because I got involved in figuring out how to make this happen. That we are living in, my God, we already had 3 trips booked. I'm telling you, 3 trips booked for the price of what it would have cost to go on 1 trip. So that's starting out this first, and it's going to continue. So keep an eye out. I welcome your comments and everything. And please, if you like what I'm sharing, like, share, subscribe. I read the comments myself, and I look forward to us continuing this journey together, because if travel is in your future, I want to be a resource to help you, to give you options, things that maybe you hadn't looked at before, so that you can really make good on that commitment, whether it's travel or whatever it is, okay?